Hello and welcome to Restore 2023. We are in the book of Daniel, chapter 3. While chapter 2 is mainly about Daniel, and there's very short appearances of his friends, chapter 3 is exclusively about the three friends. And we don't have any suggestions why Daniel is missing here, but also we see a difference in these friends, because in chapter 1 they are considered to be young men, whereas here, at least 4 times, they're considered to be men. And throughout the whole time, they're being called by their Babylonian names. We no longer hear their Jewish names. In chapter 2, Nebuchadnezzar witnesses the power of Israel, gods of Israel, and offers him praise. But very short and very selective memory. He's so skeptical in verse 15. Did you notice when you read the chapter today that the 3 main lists of the words that are repetitive? So the list of the officials, 3 times, the musical instruments, they're listed there at least 4 times. And also twice we read about peoples, nations, and men of every language, and then once of all people. Now, the statue is strange. It's very slim, 30 feet tall, 9 feet wide, and it looks like the biblical author is trying to make it look a bit ridiculous. Now, commentators has been suggesting that not all of that has been made by pure gold, but is overlaid with gold. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego remain strong in their faith. They're threatened by the burning furnace, but they do not bow down and worship. As a result, the astrologers, they come forward and denounce these guys and the Jews. They're denounced because they are not paying attention to the king, they're not serving to his God, and they do not worship the image of the God that is set up. And they're sure of God's power, and they're hopeful regarding this deliverance. They have no doubt that God can rescue, but they pray that he will. But this is the spirit of the whole book of Daniel, actually. But the king threatens them. And he doesn't threaten them just with a blazing furnace, but he challenges their God. He asks, now, will God's hand be able to rescue you from my hand? And it's only in the end of the chapter, verse 29, when the king answers these questions for himself, where he sees with his eyes the extraordinary demonstration of God's power. He testifies that there is no other gods but the God of Jews, God Almighty, that can save in this way. Now, whenever this story originated, whether in the Babylonian period or in the Persian period, the message spoke very clearly to the faithful remnant living in this Hellenistic era who were being persecuted by Antiochus Epiphanes. They trusted God and they knew that God would intervene miraculously as he had done in the time of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. But if not, they remained as resolute as these 3 guys, preferring to die a martyr's death than to yield to the pressure of the king by worshipping the idols. The chapter ends with Nebuchadnezzar praising God. This is a recurring theme in the book of Daniel. It was yesterday in chapter 2, we'll see it again in chapter 6. But here we see how he issues a decree that no one should say anything against the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, or they'll face severe penalties. Follow us tomorrow as we continue with chapter 4 of the book of Daniel.